When I saw my own face stitched onto that thing crawling in the basement, I understood why they paid me in cash. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start from the beginning, 3 weeks ago, when I thought I was just taking a simple night shift. My name is Marcus Webb, and I've been out of work for 8 months. After the incident at my last job, the assault charge, nobody wanted to touch me. Doesn't matter that the guy had it coming. Doesn't matter that the case was dropped. In this world, an accusation is enough to ruin you. So when I got a text from an unknown number offering me $3,000 a week for overnight security work, I didn't ask questions. I should have. The address led me to an industrial complex on the edge of town, the kind of place where the streetlights stop working and nobody bothers to fix them. The building itself looked like an old pharmaceutical plant, all concrete and narrow windows with steel bars. A woman was waiting in the parking lot, leaning against a black sedan. She was maybe 50, with sharp features and eyes that seemed to measure everything about you in seconds. "Dr. Cassandra Reeves," she said, extending a hand that felt cold, even through her leather glove. "You're punctual. That's good. The last 2 weren't." I shook her hand and asked what happened to them. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. They couldn't follow simple instructions. "Can you follow instructions, Marcus?" "Depends on the instructions," I said. She liked that answer. She walked me through the facility, her heels clicking on the linoleum floors. The layout was straightforward. A main corridor with 4 doors. One led to a supply closet, another to a small office where I'd spend my nights. The third opened to a kitchen area with a fridge full of energy drinks and pre-made sandwiches. And the fourth, sealed with a biometric lock, led to what she called the research wing. "Your job is remarkably simple," she explained, stopping in front of that locked door. "You monitor the cameras. You do not leave this building during your shift. You do not open this door under any circumstances. And if you hear anything from the other side, you document the time in this log, but you do not investigate. Do you understand? What kind of research are you doing in there?" I asked. She studied me for a long moment. "The kind that saves lives, Marcus. The kind that requires unconventional methods. Now, do you understand the rules or not?" I understood, or at least I thought I did. She handed me a keycard for the main entrance, a flashlight, and a black logbook with water-stained pages. The previous entries were brief. Sounds at 2:15 a.m., sounds at 4:03 a.m., sounds at 5:30 a.m. Every single night for the past month, someone had logged sounds coming from that research wing, but none of the entries described what those sounds were. Dr. Reeves left at exactly 8 p.m., and I was alone. The first hour was easy. I sat in the security office, watching 6 different camera feeds on outdated monitors. Exterior cameras showed the empty parking lot and the surrounding wasteland of abandoned buildings. Interior cameras covered the main corridor and the 3 accessible rooms. The 4th camera, the one labeled Research Wing, showed only static. I made myself a sandwich around 10 and tried to focus on a podcast, but the silence in that building was oppressive. You know that kind of quiet where you become hyper-aware of every small sound? The hum of the refrigerator, the buzz of fluorescent lights, your own breathing. It puts you on edge without knowing why. At 1:47 a.m., I heard it for the first time. A scraping sound, metal on concrete, coming from behind that locked door. I grabbed the logbook and wrote down the time, just like the instructions said. But then I heard something else. A voice, low and distorted, speaking words I couldn't quite make out. I pressed my ear against the door. The voice was clearer now, repeating the same phrase over and over. "Help us, help us, help us." I stepped back from the door, my heart hammering. "Research that saves lives," she'd said. "What kind of research involves people begging for help at 2 a.m? I went back to the office and stared at that static-filled monitor, wondering what it was hiding. The rest of the night crawled by. Every small sound made me jump. When Dr. Reeves arrived at 8 a.m., she asked if anything unusual had occurred. I lied. "Nothing unusual," I said. But as I walked to my car, another vehicle pulled up. A white van with no windows and no company markings. 2 men got out, both wearing surgical masks and heavy rubber aprons. They opened the back of the van and pulled out a stretcher. There was someone on it, covered with a sheet, but I could see movement underneath. Dr. Reeves met them at the entrance and held the door open. As they passed, the sheet slipped, and I saw a hand. It was gray and swollen, with black veins running up the wrist like cracks in marble. I drove home but couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about that hand, about those voices. Research that saves lives. What kind of research requires deliveries at 8 a.m? I spent the day searching for information about Dr. Cassandra Reeves. She existed, that much was clear. Multiple publications on regenerative medicine and tissue engineering. A tenured position at a prestigious university. And then, 2 years ago, her name vanished from every academic database. No explanation, no scandal, just gone. That night, I arrived early. I wanted to explore before she left. When I walked in, Dr. Reeves was standing in the main corridor with 2 assistants I hadn't seen before. They were young, maybe mid-20s, both wearing lab coats and looking exhausted. She was giving them instructions in a low voice, but stopped when she saw me. "You're early," she said. "I wanted to be prepared," I replied. She studied me again with those calculating eyes, then dismissed the assistants. They filed past me without making eye contact. After she left, I went straight to the research wing door. The biometric lock had a small display screen showing a handprint icon. I tried my own hand, knowing it wouldn't work, and got a red error message. Access denied. But as I pulled my hand away, I noticed something. The door frame was damaged near the lock, deep scratches in the metal, as if something had tried to claw its way out from the inside. At 3:22 a.m., the sounds started again, but this time they were different, louder, more desperate. I heard what sounded like furniture being overturned, metal clanging against metal, and then a scream. Not a horror movie scream, a real scream, the kind that comes from genuine agony. I grabbed my phone and called Dr. Reeves. She answered on the first ring, as if she'd been waiting. "What's happening?" I asked. "Stay in the office," she commanded. "Do not approach the research wing." "But someone's hurt in there," I protested. The screaming had stopped, replaced by a wet, gurgling sound that made my skin crawl. "Marcus," she said slowly, "if you open that door, you're fired. And if you're fired, you don't get paid. Now stay where you are. I'll be there in 20 minutes. She arrived in 15, along with the same 2 men from the van. They went straight to the research wing, and Dr. Reeves used her handprint to open the door. I caught a glimpse inside before it closed. Stainless steel tables, bright surgical lights, and something on one of the tables, something that looked human but wasn't quite right. The proportions were wrong. Too many limbs. The door sealed shut, and I was left standing in the corridor, trying to process what I'd seen. The next morning, she doubled my pay. $6,000 a week, cash, handed to me in a manila envelope. All you have to do is follow the rules, she said. Can you do that, Marcus? I took the money. God help me, I took it. But I couldn't let it go. I started documenting everything. Photos of the van's license plate, videos of the deliveries. I even found the names of the previous security guards through an online search. James Holloway, Thomas Chen, both listed as missing persons, both last seen near this industrial complex. I was sitting in my car on my day off, staring at their photos on my phone, when I got a text from Dr. Reeves. We need you tonight. Emergency shift. Triple pay. When I arrived, the parking lot was full of vehicles. The van, 3 cars I didn't recognize, and an ambulance with its lights off. Dr. Reeves met me at the door, and for the first time, she looked rattled. We have a situation, she said. Subject 7 has breached containment. We need you to help secure the perimeter. What's Subject 7? I asked. She ignored the question and handed me a tranquilizer gun. If you see anything moving in the building that isn't me or my staff, you shoot it. Aim for center mass. Do you understand? I took the gun, my hands shaking. What am I looking for? She hesitated, choosing her words carefully. Something that used to be human. It may try to communicate with you. It may say things designed to manipulate you. Do not listen. Do not engage. Just shoot. She left me in the main corridor while she and her team swept the research wing. I stood there with that tranquilizer gun, listening to muffled shouts and the sound of something heavy being dragged across the floor. Then the lights went out. Emergency lighting kicked in, bathing everything in red, and I heard breathing behind me. Slow, labored, wet breathing. I turned and saw it at the end of the corridor. It stood maybe 7 feet tall, but hunched over, as if its spine couldn't support its weight. The body was a patchwork of different skin tones, stitched together with thick black sutures. It had 4 arms, 2 that looked normal, and 2 that were withered and gray. But it was the face that made me drop the gun. The face was mine, not similar, not close, identical. My face grafted onto this thing's head, looking at me with my own eyes. Marcus, it said in my voice. Marcus, help me. I tried to run, but my legs wouldn't move. The thing took a step forward, dragging one leg behind it. They took us, Marcus. They took people like us. People nobody would miss. People with records and no family. They took us and made us into this. I found my voice. You're not me. It smiled, and the smile was wrong. Too wide, revealing teeth that didn't match. Not yet, it said, but I will be. They always need more parts. That's when Dr. Reeves appeared behind it with a cattle prod. The thing convulsed and collapsed, and her team swarmed in with restraints. She looked at me with something close to pity. You should have followed the rules, Marcus, she said. Now we'll have to start your processing early. I ran. I smashed through the front entrance and sprinted across the parking lot. Behind me, I heard shouting, footsteps, the van's engine roaring to life. I made it to my car and floored it, not stopping until I was 50 miles away. I'm in a motel now, writing this down, trying to figure out what to do. I have photos, I have videos, but who's going to believe me? And more importantly, how many others are there? How many Marcus Webbs and James Holloways and Thomas Chens are stitched together in that building, wearing faces that used to belong to people nobody cared about? I keep touching my face, making sure it's still mine. But I can't shake the feeling that somewhere in that facility, they're already preparing my replacement. And when they're done, nobody will notice the difference. Nobody ever does.